Good morning, friends. Myself Usha Vyas. Today I will discuss Jane Austen's Art of Characterization. First of all, I have to throw light on limited range of Jane Austen's characters. The range of Jane Austen's characters is rather narrow. She selects her characters from among the landed gentry in the countryside. She omits the servants, the labourers, even the yeomanry. Servants appear when they are needed, but they are usually not heard. Emma catches a glimpse of Robert Martin, but only at a distance. He is discussed, but we never personally meet him. Aristocracy also is hardly touched, and if Jane Austen does take an aristocratic character, it is only to satirize him. Leading Catherine de Bourgh in Pride and Prejudice is arrogant, pretentious, stupid, and vulgar. The Honorable John Yates in Mansfield Park is inconsiderate, insensitive, and silly. Jane Austen finds herself at home only with the country gentry and the usual domestic involvements. The second point is characters are fully discriminated. In spite of such a limited range to choose from, Jane Austen never repeats her characters. In her 6 books, she never repeats a single character, says Lord David Cecil. There is all the difference in the world between the vulgarity of Mrs. Bennet and the vulgarity of Mrs. Jennings. One of her small parsonage house, Jane Austen's gay vent conjures innumerable troops of unique individuals. But though these characters are so highly individualized, they also have a touch of the universal about them. In fact, this is a mark of the greatness of an artist. While retaining all the particularity of his individual experience, he so projects it that it transcends the narrowness of individuality and embraces the eternal and the universal. If this were not possible, the work would lose its appeal. Now, I will throw light Pride and Pre- on Pride and Prejudice. It is the most popular novel written by Jane Austen. Pride and Prejudice continues to be the most popular novel written by Jane Austen. It was well received by her contemporary reading public. It won the love and admiration of the generations to come. And even in the 20th century, when the English novel has considerably developed and the readers have become more knowledgeable and fastidious, Pride and Prejudice has not lost any of its appeal. Pride and Prejudice remains Jane Austen's most brilliant novel, the one with the most exciting story and the wittiest and most spirited heroine. The title of the novel. Now I will tell you a little bit about the title of the novel. Jane Austen began writing Pride and Prejudice when she was barely 21. The novel was written in the epistolary style under the title First Impressions. First impression was one of the key phrases in the terminology of sentimental fiction. It signifies the truth and strength of one's immediate emotional responses, usually love at first sight. Jane Austen wanted to give ironic implications to this title. She agreed that the first impressions are of paramount importance, but she wanted to show that they could be negative and critical, and not always positive and sympathetic, as usually happens in the first encounter of the hero and heroine of hero and heroine of a romantic novel. Elizabeth and Darcy, the major characters of Pride and Prejudice, instead of falling in love at first sight, gets prejudiced against each other, and the novel describes how these first impressions are first confirmed and later inverted. Thank you. This is all for today. See you again tomorrow.